the year kasi patapos na yung year. May isa pa akong year-ender na gagawin with another trio, trifecta, ayan, trilateral. Ito, may binubuo tayong bagong trilateral, RCM, yan, Ricardo, Marco, and Cristiano. Thank you very much, Kristan and Mark Gamboa, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Looking forward to this, huh?
Kamusta dyan? Anong balita dyan, Mark Gamboa? Anong traffic ngayon sa EDSA? Nasaan po tayo, kapatid?
Ang traffic.
Ayan.
Friday. Last day, bago mag-weekend. So,
Ayan.
everyone is going home. So, ang daming tao dito. Grabe.
Baka mamaya may MD na nalalapit sa'yo, sisigaw kami. Let's ka na dyan. Ayan, bro. Eto na. Let's get the ball rolling. There's so much to discuss. But before we go into kind of a year-ender, big political, events and what are the things we're gonna look forward to. Eto, Mark, alam mo naman, pagdating sa itong kaibigan natin, itong co-host natin, si Kristan, ito ay isang Bitcoin boy. Alright? Pag-usapan natin, and of course, he's an entrepreneur. And next, pag-usapan natin, lover boy din yan. Okay, but before we go there.
He's also an actor.
Yes! Lover boy, actor, reality show star. Oh, bro, kaya kahapon, hindi natuloy kasi nagtitaping si Kuya. Kaya artista ang natin dyan, bro. Okay, Chris, get used to it. Talagang nangasar lang kami. But it's from love. Okay, Chris, before we go to showbiz and showbiz questions, eto na. So, where did all of this Bitcoin stuff start? And then, Mark, tapon mo na yung mga Bitcoin question mo kasi alam ko, Elon Musk fanboy ka eh.
Oh, okay. Unang-una, no? I'm excited to hear all the questions and whatever you believe in. Mahilig ako magdebate, as you, I'm sure, like the way you guys do as well.
Yeah.
And I always believe that debates make points and thoughts stronger. So,
Right.
paano ko nag-umpisa sa Bitcoin? Alam mo, like anything else, ako yung tipong pag marinig akong bagong technology o bagong bagay, hindi ko agad-agad shutdown yan. Ang una kong gagawin ay tatanungin ko yung kausap ko, ano bang alam niya about it. And I remember my friend just literally I had a drink with my friend and then he was like, have you heard of Bitcoin? Agad-agad, I was like, parang narinig ko na yan. Then he started explaining it to me. Ang impression ko agad was, uy, that sounds interesting but I don't know enough about it. So ang ginawa ko, sabi niya, Chris, promise me pag-aaralan mo to. Eh, ang kulit niya, araw-araw niya akong mini-message. O, napag-aaralan mo na ba? Napag-aaralan mo na. So, it took me about a month. Ang ginawa ko, I didn't research on how good Bitcoin is. Ni-research ko about Bitcoin being a scam, Ponzi scheme, going to zero, has no inherent value, is worthless. Yun ang mga ni-research kong Google search points pa. And you know what my thesis is? You try to punch as many holes as you can in an argument. Kung punch ng hole and it still holds water, ibig sabihin nun, you have to find a better hole puncher. And that also means na if it holds water, then it's a sound argument for that particular topic. Nung nakita ko yon, doon ako nag-all in. That was December 2019. I literally called up my broker, sold all my stocks at a 30% loss, called up my insurance broker, canceled my insurance, redeemed all of it. My broker met with me, nagpirmahan kami ng redemption. Sabi niya, saan mo lalagay yung pera, Chris? Sabi ko, lalagay ko lahat sa Bitcoin. Nagulat siya. He didn't believe me. And then I posted on my Facebook. And to this day, andyan pa yung post niya sa Facebook ko noong December 2019. Tinanong ko lahat ng friends ko, what do you think about Bitcoin? 99% of the people that replied were laughing, making fun of me, saying don't do it, giving me advice. People private message me, saying that I don't know what I'm doing. Mga iba, mga mayayaman, mga taga-Forbes na sobrang yaman, mga financial analysts on ANC messaging me, talking to me about it if I know what I'm doing. And I went all in. And that's history. That's how I got into Bitcoin.
Well, 2019 was a perfect time, no? Just before pandemic, because by the next year the prices go crazy, right? I mean,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
Timing mo, ang ganda, bro.
It was a good timing, pero remember, late 2017, mga December 2017, if I remember correctly, or January 2018, nag-peak ang Bitcoin at $19,000.
Right.
Tapos bumagsak all the way to 3,000. So nung 2019, mababa pa siya at about 5,000 to 7,000. And people were saying, tapos na yan, wala na yan, babagsak na yan. Why are you even going into it? Ako naman, pumasok all the way. So that was how I got in.
Ngayon ba nasa magkano na siya?
$44,000.
Wait, magkano bili mo ulit?
$7,000.
Shockers! Hindi, kasi bumili ka ng 2019 eh. Kung bumili ka ng 2021, medyo...
Oh, good.
Diba? Because I've been following this. I wanted to do Bitcoin also in 2019, 2020, especially in 2020, diba? Although, I'll be honest, and maybe Chris, you can guide me and Mark, my worry was the taxes and all of that. Because I'm very particular. I mean, given the nature of my job, I have to be very clear about all of these things. I get tax lawyers for everything I do. So my worry was, nakita ko marami dyan, nagsastock sila, hindi nila alam yung tax laws sa US in particular. So nadali sila sa mga issues na yan. Can you tell us a little bit about that kung may alam ka sa mga tax issues?
Sure, that depends. That depends on what country you're in eh. Kung sa Pilipinas, Philippines doesn't have
Ngayon
crypto
pala sa
currency.
Philippines ka bumili, hindi sa US or Canada.
Oo, kasi sa US may pitang crypto regulations doon. Sa Philippines, wala pa tayong crypto regulations for holders. And the problem is that BIR has signaled so many times during the height of Axie Infinity na gusto nila i-tax ang mga Axie players. Pero hindi nila matatax ang Axie players because it's in the crypto world. It's in the blockchain. The BIR cannot see kung nasan yung pera or how much everyone has. So it's impossible to tax crypto at this point. Pero pag nasa States ka, matatax ka talaga. Yep, dahil mahigpit ang regulations.
Yeah,
Number
exactly.
one. Number two, the US has created a law stating that kung meron kang crypto, kailangan mo siya i-declare, honor system.
Right.
Kung hindi mo dineclare, tapos nahuli ka, you will be penalized and you could go to jail. Ayun, may ganun sila.
Do you also own other coins then?
Yes, I do.
Dogecoin! Dogecoin!
Well,
Ethereum, XRP, do you
So,
own ganung crypto din?
actually, pag tinignan mo yung portfolio ko, I have siguro mga a minimum of at least 50 coins that I'm in.
wow.
Pero having said that, I only tell people to invest in Bitcoin. Pwede din Ethereum, that's another one. The percentage of Bitcoin and Ethereum I have on my wallet compared to any other coin is about 80% to 90% Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then mga 10 to 20% lang yung nilalaro ko talaga.
How about yung sa mga NFT? Kasi parang a few years ago napakainit.
Yeah.
Tapos everyone was into NFT, mga board monkeys, tapos biglang
Jake
crash
Paul Brothers, di ba? Ang dami NFT
yeah.
mga yun. Big time yun.
Alam mo ko opinion ko sa NFTs. I just bought an NFT for my profile photo, mura lang. I don't invest in NFTs kasi speculative talaga ang NFTs ngayon. At saka maraming paraan kung paano ma-manipulate ang presyo ng NFTs. Na very simple way to manipulate na people are unsuspecting buyers of these manipulated prices. Na hindi naman talaga ganun kataas, kaya lang i-manipulate yung price upward. So, I always tell people, if you buy an NFT, you like the art, then good for you. At least you see value in it. Pero kung binili mo lang yun para tingin mo dahil mag-100x ka, good luck sa'yo. 90% of the people that bought NFTs did not 100x. Good luck na kung mabebenta mo yan. Okay, so especially now, NFTs was the fad nung time na yun. This cycle, hindi ko alam kung NFTs pa yung fad. Ang tingin ko yung fad ngayon, this cycle is going to be AI. AI tokens naman.
Yung pala next, mga AI tokens na.
Yeah, so that's
Pinapatanong ko kung
what
ano yung next na utility na napoprovide ng mga blockchain, ng mga... Kasi nung time na medyo I was starting to learn about it, yun sa finance, di ba? Merong iba sa games like Axie. Sa ngayon ba, ano ang future nitong blockchain and crypto? Saan papunta? Saan siya pwedeng gamitin? And saan siya pwedeng mag-grow?
Okay, yung kasi yung technology ng blockchain is going to change the way we use the internet. A lot of people think it's just financial. Hindi, blockchain is a technology to protect intellectual property and to protect assets and to protect data. Okay, and kasi yung problem natin sa Web 2 right now is centralized ang Web 2. I want you to try to see kung maintindihan mo itong purpose ng blockchain at Web 3. Right now, ang problema sa video, for example, di ba na-hack ang video? You guys remember that hack yung 350 accounts, 50,000 pesos per account na hack. Bakit na-hack yun? Dahil centralized yung servers.
Pati Gcash, di ba? Oo.
So if a hacker wanted to hack it, they have to access one server. And then, yun na, all the shit they can do, kaya na lang gawin yan. And na-hack din ng BPI ata, na-hack. Tapos Facebook na-hack, di ba? All the data was breached because of that. There are a lot of hacks that happen. Even if I remember correctly, was it Gcash na na-hack recently?
Yeah.
Maraming hacks because it's centralized. Now, what Web3 is called decentralization. Hindi na nasa sa isang server ang lahat ng impormasyon na yon. They're now on a million servers all over the world. Now, when you have a million servers validating the information, what the hacker has to do is hack all 1 million servers at the same time to be able to change the information, to be able to steal the information. Otherwise, it's unhackable. Yun ang isang property ng decentralized internet or the Web3. Yung isa pa, yung blockchain. Yung blockchain naman, ang ginagawa niya, kasi right now, like for example sa computer natin, di ba yung information nakalagay sa mga folders, di ba? Marami yan. Ang gulo-gulo niya, di ba? So if a hacker hacked your computer, they go into a folder and then get all your info. Pero sa blockchain, it's different. One folder is connected to another folder, is connected to another folder, is
Right.
connected to another one, connected to another one. Now, they're all connected. They're all encrypted, each folder. If a hacker wanted to hack one data, he has to hack all of the chain at the same time on a million servers. Kaya it's impossible to hack the blockchain. That's why since the inception of Bitcoin in 2009, it's never been hacked. And trust me, people have tried. Hackers have tried. And even the hacker that did that video hack that stole millions, alam mo ginawa niya after niya na-hack yung video? Kinonvert niya lahat to Bitcoin dahil alam niya Bitcoin hindi ma-hack.
Of course, now we'll go to the other side of the coin. Now, I mean, we see all the pros of the Bitcoin and why is it very attractive. In your case, luckily, you came in at a good time. I was just looking at the Bitcoin yield over, more than a decade from. I mean, 2010, it was like less than $1. Then it went up to, wow, 68,000, and then now it's around 40,000. So if you invested in this thing 10, 15 years ago, my God, ano ka na, happy ng life mo. This is a multi-generational wealth issue. But of course, at the same time, we also have, of course, Chris, issue of people who came in a little bit late without knowing it. They bought it a little bit expensive, let's say in the middle of the pandemic, then prices collapsed. So we had all of these horror stories.
Yep.
Of people who came in at the wrong time. Because, there's a timing aspect to it. You're the lucky one. And not to mention the US, the tax laws are very strict. They're really gonna come after you. So there were a lot of people who had kind of a semi-horror stories here and there. But even more than Bitcoin, of course, let's expand this. Hindi lang naman Bitcoin. We're talking about digital currencies. Ang dami mga scam na nangyari. I mean, just look at the Sam Bankman-Fried case. My goodness, many people were driven to suicide and worse. They put all of their their savings into this. So a lot of Ponzi schemers, right, emerged during the pandemic period. So how do you look at that? Before I go to another counter argument on this issue, yeah.
Okay, so to begin with, there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else.
Right.
Bitcoin stands head and shoulders above all other altcoins. All other altcoins were created after Bitcoin. Ang pinagkaiba ng Bitcoin sa lahat ng mga altcoins na sinasabi mo, yung mga now about 30,000 cryptocurrencies, is this. Bitcoin has no owner, has no company. There is no office for Bitcoin. He released it, he can't even change the code himself.
Sino ba
Can
talaga
you
yung founder?
The
Anong rumor?
Is this anonymous person named Satoshi Nakamoto.
Which is a screen name. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a screen name. It doesn't exist. And the reason he did that is because he understood that if people knew who he was, the government would probably go after him. Now, when he released the Bitcoin programming code, the open source code, he can't even change it himself. Nobody can. Kasi to change it, you have to get over 51% of all the nodes and validators to agree to change it. Now, when you have 1 million validators, good luck trying to get 51% to agree to anything. It's impossible. So, dahil doon, hindi kayang palitan ng Bitcoin. It's a hard asset. All other cryptos have a founder. They have an office. They have a board of directors. They have a support team. They have a Twitter, a Facebook. They have all of that.
Yeah, they have
Bitcoin
mini
na
central
wala.
banks essentially. They have their own central banks
Yeah,
essentially,
they
which
have their
which
own
goes
countries.
against the whole idea of a digital currency of libertarian utopia, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I say 90% of all the cryptos you see now are gonna collapse and go to zero. Kaya I do not
Yeah.
advise people to invest in any other crypto except Bitcoin.
And your suggestion is long haulers?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So we
yeah, yeah.
call
Go
them
for 10 years.
hodlers.
Yeah, yeah,
At
exactly.
yung
Yeah.
mga just hold it, and I promise you this, you hold it for a minimum of 10 years. It doesn't matter when you come in. You will profit from Bitcoin. Like you said, Richard, yung paano yung mga pumasok ng 2021 at the peak at $60,000. By the way, I bought at $60,000. I bought at the peak, okay? And I'm not worried about that. So even if you bought at the price at $60,000 to $67,000, by 2020, no, excuse me, even by 2024, you're gonna be already at break even. By 2025, you're gonna be so happy you bought, because Bitcoin is probably gonna be at 6 digits already. Probably 150 to $200,000 per Bitcoin. So even at today's prices, it's actually cheap, and I'm still buying at today's prices. I actually bought Bitcoins just like a few weeks ago.
But Chris, you're making a claim. I'm not sure what's the basis. How confident you are, because I heard this 100, 200,000, a million a few years ago. It's still not coming true. I mean, don't you
Huh?
think that there's going to be some sort of a maturation period before there's another peak? Or, well, I mean, of course you're betting big on this. I'm just saying, aren't you overpromising in a way? How are you
Okay.
sure? I mean, where do you get your certainty?
Yeah, so the certainty comes from several things. Number one, there's a stock to flow supply chart that they created. The stock to flow chart is based on gold and based on commodities actually. So they traced kasi gold is a scarce commodity eh.
Right.
You can't just mine gold forever
Yeah,
eh. Meron
finite.
siyang
Yeah.
limited supply. So pakonti ng pakonti yung supply ng gold. And what they noticed is that they charted it against the price of gold. And they noticed that as the supply dropped, the price of gold kept going up. So they put that same chart on Bitcoin's flow and supply, okay? And what they noticed is that nung pinase nila yung historical prices ng Bitcoin dun sa supply chart ng Bitcoin, nagulat sila, it matched perfectly. And then nung naalala ko, nung nakita ko yung chart na yun, it was at $7,000 per Bitcoin. Nung nakita ko yung chart, tinitignan ko saan papunta, sabi ko, uy, by 2021, it's going to hit mga, I was expecting it to be 100,000. Sabi ko, wow. Kaya bumili ako agad at 7. Sure, it didn't hit 100,000 that time. It hit 67,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
problem. This cycle is going to be bigger than the last cycle for several reasons. Number one is called a supply shock. Every 4 years, the Bitcoin flow, or the number of Bitcoins that's minted or mined, is cut in half. So nababawasan yung, parang yung gripo, pahigpit na pahigpit, pakonti na pakonti yung bumabagsak na tubig. So that's the supply shock that will send the price up. The second one is called the demand shock. Alam mo, Richard and Mark, from the inception of Bitcoin to today, institutional investors, I'm talking about the biggest bank managers, the biggest fund managers, people like companies like BlackRock, if you've ever heard of BlackRock and how amazingly, massively huge they are. They've said they don't
Just
like
10
Bitcoin.
trillion, right? I think they're just $10 trillion hedge fund.
Yeah, exactly. BlackRock just manages $10 trillion. Okay? That's how massive they
Yeah.
are. Now, I want you to think about that number. That's one. And there's 10 of these asset managers. Combined, they probably control about $100 trillion of assets. Now, here's the big difference. This is what I call demand shock. This year, they looked at Bitcoin and said, oh my God, we have to offer Bitcoin to all our clients. And they did a study on it. And that study, they did internal study and hindi nila pinublish, na nag-leak lang. Dito sa internal study nito, nire-recommend nga nila na dapat 80% of their assets is in Bitcoin. But of course, they're not gonna recommend that. So what they're gonna do is to diversify it and recommend about 2 to 5% conservatively into Bitcoin. When you're talking about 5% of 100 trillion, that's $5 trillion of money flowing into Bitcoin in the next 5 to 10 years. That's a demand shock. When that happens, the price of Bitcoin will go up because the market cap of Bitcoin now is only at $800 billion. I want you to imagine the market cap of Bitcoin at $10 trillion. A $10 trillion market cap is about a $1 million per Bitcoin price.
Yeah,
Okay,
which
that's
is
why I
like
know it's
almost
gonna go up.
20 times the current price. Well, I mean, again, I get it. I mean, if you have trillions of dollars sloshing around, it makes sense to diversify your options. So I think it's the rigor for any big companies to have their their fingers deep in any cookie jar, including
Yep.
some dodgier cookie jar. But speaking of supply shock, I mean, we know that the governments are also stepping in to issue also their digital currency. I think China is the biggest one coming in, banning Bitcoin. We saw some countries like, was it El Salvador, the millennial dictator going Bitcoin. I'm not sure things turned out very well for him. So I don't know. I mean, for me, some of these projections are not perhaps taking into consideration government action, as big countries like China, who knows, in Europe among others, may also issue their own certified digital currencies to compete with Bitcoin. I mean, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, first of all, I love your questions, Richard. Ang galing. I love it. So here's the thing. That's a fallacy, what you said about El Salvador experiment not going well. It wasn't going well, but guess what? Today, it's going amazing. They're already in profit from their Bitcoin reserves. Higher profit that they've ever had if they just kept it in like bonds or whatever investments that are safe and giving a 3 to 5% return. They're actually in profit. You can look it up. So yes, their Bitcoin experiment is working and it's going to get better for them. Number one. Number two, the question about China and banning Bitcoin. Alam mo ba, so many times China, this is not the first time China tried to ban Bitcoin. They did. They've tried to ban Bitcoin so many times. What happened? People bought more. The more the government tries to ban Bitcoin, the more people will want to buy it. That's how things work. Remember, the more the government doesn't want you to do something, the more people crave and want it. Okay, so the China banning is not working. Number one. Number two, you're talking about digitizing the currencies like China, EU is planning to do it. The US is looking at it. It's called CBDCs, central bank denominated currencies,
Right.
CBDCs. Now, here's the problem with CBDCs and why the CBDC idea might fail. Is this? I want to I want you to imagine what happened in Canada during COVID. I don't know if you guys know what happened. The truckers were protesting the COVID sanction restrictions that time. Ang ginawa ng Canadian government noong time na yun, dahil ayaw nila hintuin yung protest nila, the Canadian government actually froze all their bank accounts of all the truckers. Okay, think about what happened, freezing the bank accounts. Now,
Let me
that's,
confirm that. I mean, this is the Trudeau administration we're accusing, right?
yes, yes,
I
you
want
can
to check
check
that
that.
because I know these truckers in, I don't know, Ottawa are like heroes of alt right. So it's like,
Yeah.
but okay, like
Uh,
okay, I'll check that
yeah.
myself. Yeah, yeah.
Richard, do check my info, check my facts, check what I'm saying. And if I'm wrong, I'll redact the statement. I'll retract it. Okay, but check it. I'm positive on this one. So anyway, what happened was he froze their bank accounts. Okay, now and eto pa in the States, in Ukraine. You know what happened with the Ukraine war, diba? The U.S. sanctioned Russia, and I don't like Russia. I like what the U.S. did. They froze the U.S. dollar reserves of Russia. You know about that? All the dollar reserves of Russia
Yeah,
was
it's 350
frozen
billion
and
dollars. It's
taken away.
350 billion dollars.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
several billion. It was massive, right? And that's what
350
collapsed the Russian
billion.
economy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem with centralized currency. The government, if they don't like how you look, what you say, they can confiscate and freeze your money. And with Web 2 now, they can do that already, di ba? AMLA. How many
Yeah.
ako, na-freeze na yung accounts ko ilang beses na. Bad trip talaga, hassle yan sobra. And if you try to take out $10,000 outside of the Philippines, good luck trying to get through immigration. They're gonna ask you, why are you taking it out? Where are you going? What are you doing with your own money? Why does the government care what you do with your own money? Di ba? Hassle yun, ha?
Okay,
Now,
Chris,
here's
I'll
the-
push back against you again. Okay, actually, you
Go.
were correct on this freezing of
Go.
account. I checked it 2020. But let me say, by the way, just good news. El Salvador is now offering just in citizenship to crypto owners. So, amigo, soon you're gonna be an amigo Latino. Okay.
I don't wanna go
All right.
to El
Once you have a
Salvador,
picture,
man.
but going back to this, I mean, I can completely see your point of defying, sanctions, etc. But isn't that exactly why a lot of dodgy countries like North Korea, hackers, underground works, terrorist organization have been accused or there's quite evidence to suggest that they're using Bitcoin to circumvent sanctions. It's not like sanctions against Russia had no moral basis. I think Putin deserved that sanction in a way, not the Russian people looking at. So I don't know, like I get your point that you push back against tyrannical intervention, but you're also allowing petty tyrants to get away with nasty stuff, right? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
there's the other
Here's
side to
problem.
that. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
balance
no, no.
this, yeah.
You're absolutely right. But here's the no, here is the you have to look at it in the context, the whole context
Sure,
of
sure.
of let's say money laundering and money used for illicit activities. Bitcoin's use in illicit activities is actually less than what? Like I think less than 5%. You know what the most used
Yeah, but
currency
Chris,
is?
if it's gonna be
But you
10
know what the most
trillion,
used currency is?
5% of 10 trillion is gonna be what? 500 billion or something like that? That's still gonna be huge.
But the point I'm trying to make is this. If you're telling me that, well, paano yung ginagamit for illicit activities? Well, I think they have a bigger problem with cash. Where 95% is used of illicit activities is transacted in cash. And they haven't been able to figure that out. And you're telling me you're worried about Bitcoin when they have a bigger problem that they've never been able to figure out.
So your
Ano
argument
lang,
is it's
by the
worth
way,
it. It's worth it. The risk is worth it. Like you're acknowledging the
Well,
risk, but you're saying it's worth it.
No, actually, I
It's not
find
big enough.
Bitcoin to be even safer than cash. Kasi sa cash, hindi mo talaga matatrace yan. With Bitcoin, you can actually trace it because everything is on the blockchain. Everything is open source. Everything is completely transparent. You can tell the origin of every single Bitcoin you buy. That's why Bitcoin is actually better than cash. And it can't be counterfeited. So wala nang counterfeits pagdating sa Bitcoin. Unlike cash, you know ang problem ng government counterfeiting. Right? That's a big problem with any government.
Last point,
Not
Chris.
with Bitcoin.
Last point, Chris. Before we go back to Mark and we talk about the other issue, which is very important, entrepreneurship. Thank you. By the way, thank you. I'm just trying to make this discussion balanced. I hope I'm not coming off as like nega. I'm just trying to put things in context. I mean, the other thing, of course, with the issue of digital currencies and all is, may mga kaso tayo ng mga tao na they forgot their password. And all of that. That's the thing, right? You're saying the good thing is there's no one really in charge. It's a kind of an
Yep.
good anarchy. But the problem is then there's no fallback option if something goes wrong, right? Let's say
Yeah,
Mark Gamboa,
absolutely.
did something and he forgot. I mean, there's so many cases. Mark, narinig mo yan, di ba? Yung mga they forgot their password and wala sila mapuntahan and now it's worth like $200 million. That's the problem. There's no shop to go to if something goes wrong. That's my problem with that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the same as if you lose your wallet, di ba? You have nowhere to go to. If you lose your cell phone, you have no one to go to, di ba? It's your phone.
We can
right?
go to the police and report that someone
Yeah,
is like,
you can. That you lost your phone, right? Paano na? You drop your phone,
Kasi
nabasa.
closure the password, wala na.
Yeah, so...
Yun nga di ba, Mark? Nakakatakot, di ba?
Absolutely.
Oo.
You know what scares me more than holding on to my own money? The bank holding on to my money. Kasi you know how many bank runs have happened already? Another example I'm gonna give you, Lebanon. Alam mo ba in Lebanon, when that explosion happened in 2019, after that, bumagsak yung economy nila.
But Chris, that's
The
an extreme case. Come on. That
No, it's
argument's
not.
not... You're gonna give me
No.
Lebanon and North Korea. I mean, come on.
I
That's
want
an
you-
extreme
But
case.
Richard, I think that's a misnomer when you say it's extreme. There are so many countries that are in hyperinflation right now. Venezuela is in hyperinflation. Argentina is in
Sure,
hyperinflation.
Turkey, yeah.
Turkey, Lebanon. I mean, like I'm telling you, there are a lot of countries in There are probably more countries in hyperinflation than countries that are not in hyperinflation. Even the Philippines has a high inflation. The U.S.'s inflation is high, and that's a big problem. So I want you to imagine, the bank holds your money. You go to the bank. Everyone's trying to get the money at the same time. What did the government do in Lebanon? They put the military in front of all the people and said, you cannot take out your money. Na yung mga tao, alam mo ginawa nila, yung isang babae, pumasok doon, may dalang baril. Hinold up niya yung bank just to get her old money. And she said, I'm only robbing the money that this bank holds for me. This is my money. And then she walked out a hero. It's on the news, that one. So the point I'm trying to make is this. If you think it's scary to hold on to your money, trust me, the bank holding on to your money is scary here. If you have a couple of million pesos in the bank, try to withdraw all of it at the same time. Let's see if it's going to be easy or hard. It's going to be very hard. So, kailangan lang ng mindset shift Nasanay tayo at na-condition tayo at na-brainwash tayo to believe that inflation is good. Number one. Number two, that you need a bank. You don't need a bank. You actually should learn how to have self-custody of your own money. That is the safest way to go. This is a mind shift. That's why a lot of people have a hard time understanding the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, the importance of it, because they have this thinking that's been
Preconceptions.
inculcated in us since
They
the
have
1970s.
preconceptions. Yeah. Preconceived bias and all. No, I mean, I'm just trying to have a balanced discussion here. Now, I'm sure Mark. But I want to ask you, what is your advice? Although I will disagree with inflation is bad necessarily. You need a certain degree of inflation to get the economy going. You can ask Japan about deflation and stuff. But we can talk about macroeconomics separately. But going back to this, what is your advice dun sa mga may Bitcoin in terms of password nila and all para hindi mangyari yung mga, like what is the
Okay.
yeah, can you give us like the 1, 2, 3 step of
Absolutely.
getting Bitcoin?
So-
Let's do that part. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so here's the thing about Bitcoin, yung mga narinig mong horror stories about people forgetting their passwords. That happened kasi nung time na yun, wala pang halaga yung Bitcoin. Ngayon, pag may bagay ka na walang halaga, pinapabayaan mo lang talaga siya. Pero napansin mo, pag meron kang bagay like your iPhone that you value so much, man, you're holding on to it like
Yeah.
a hawk. Diba?
Yeah.
So ganun din yan. When you have something that you understand that's valuable, you won't be just carelessly forgetting your password. Now, hindi yung password yung problema sa Bitcoin at sa cryptocurrency. The problem really is, and the real security is the 16 to 24 word seed phrase. Yan yung pinaka-importante. Because even if they have your password, they will not be able to access your Bitcoin wallet or your crypto wallet. The only way to really access it is getting the 16 to 24 word seed phrase. Yun yung kailangan mo protektahan. Now, how do you
Right.
protect it? You write it on a piece of paper, put it in a sealed envelope, put it in a safety deposit box. Or you can engrave it. Ako yung ginawa ko.
Yun nga,
engrave
what's
on a
your
steel
advice?
plate. Ha? Yeah, steel plate, engraved. Sealed, yung steel plate. May seal talaga yan. And then
Yeah.
nakalock yan.
Napain
Nakalagay
ng
sa
water.
vault. Pag yan, nabuksan, alam ko na nabuksan na yan. So that's how I keep it safe. And I have the key to that. Yung mga ganon, that's how you keep it safe. And you have to learn talaga to be careful with all your properties. Yun lang naman yun at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think your counter argument to me is like if I said your Lebanon case was extreme, you can easily also say, but Richard, you're also raising extreme cases of password forgetting.
No, no, no. And
No, but I think I wasn't.
I'll tell you.
That will be my argument against myself. It's like, come on, Richard, you cannot use that as a. Can I ask na lang what is your helpful advice
Yeah.
for safety,
And-
etc. Yeah.
And remember, if you lose the computer or your
Mabaling
phone,
nga,
you
basit
just
nga,
have to open the
Si Danong,
16-word
mainit.
phrase and then type it in, and then you have access again to your crypto. That's it. See? So it's not in, even if the device is burned, if you have the 16-word phrase, you can
Right.
get your crypto.
Ikaw, Mark, anong tanong mo dyan? Have you tried, Mark, to get into Bitcoin before you go to the
Yeah,
entrepreneurship
meron time na,
one? Yeah.
Meron time na I studied it. Yung time na papasok pa lang yung NFTs.
Right.
So, I tried trading yung mga iba't ibang klase ng crypto and at the end, hindi ko din matutukan and so I sold most of my coins then. Yung iba ata loss, pero ayun, ang ganda nga yung ganito kasi mas I'm learning ako where the state of Bitcoin is now.
Salamat mo.
And yun nga, yung mga NFTs and yung ibang mga coins, most of them will go down then or will go down to zero. Kaya yun naman talaga yung ever since Bitcoin, Ethereum, yun talaga yung more stable and more maayos na pagdating sa mga crypto and sa blockchain.
Siguro ako lang kina-add lang for all the viewers that are thinking well, I don't understand it, I don't have time to look at it. You don't need to really understand it. You don't really need to look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it as a piggy bank. Lagay mo lang pera mo, keep putting it, and just leave it there.
Right.
Now I'll tell you
Long haul,
two
long
good
haul.
stories. I'll
Yeah.
tell you two good stories about that. Number one, my girlfriend recently just got into Bitcoin last January. Alam mo ba, she didn't understand Bitcoin but she keeps hearing me talk about it. Tapos sabi niya, my God, Chris, are you telling me this is gonna keep going up? I go, hell yeah. When? Sabi ko, this year it's gonna go up. January, bumili siya at $19,000. And you know what people were saying at 19? Mahal sobra yan. And she goes, I'm gonna put in. Now, you know what? It went up to 25. Sabi lang, oh my God, ang taas na niyan.
True,
She
true.
put more
Exactly.
in at 25.
Yeah, true.
At $32,000. Sabi ng iba, my God, babagsak yan. She put more in. Okay. Today, it's at 44. And you know what? She doesn't look at it every day. Well, actually, mga siguro once a week tinitignan na niya. Kasi natutuwa yan. Nakikita niya, wow, tumaas na naman yung pera ko, tumaas na naman. It's amazing that feeling when you're looking at your account and then paakit ng paakit yung value ng pera mo. That's why I tell people, you don't need to truly understand it. Alam mo, the smartest people in the world created this technology called Bitcoin. The smartest investors in the world are already in Bitcoin. The smartest investors, yung mga like the Winklevoss twins, are in Bitcoin. Now, why are they all in it? And you're not. Think about that. One more story I'm gonna tell you, Eto, about forgetting it. I have a friend who I was talking to about crypto and then nabanggit ko yung Ethereum. Sabi niya sa akin, this was March 2020. Sabi niya, uy, meron ako niyan ah. Ako talaga? Check mo nga. So hindi na nga niya naalala yung password niya. Sabi niya, meron bang website na Binance? Sabi ko, meron. Sabi niya, oh shoots, meron na ata ako nabili. So she Googles, she goes to her Gmail, finds her account, forgot password, accesses the account again, she opens it, and boom, long and behold, meron nga siyang Ethereum. So sabi ko, padala mo yung screenshot, titignan ko, meron ba talaga? Meron. Ito na. Sabi ko, magkano binayad mo dyan? Sabi niya, binili ko yan noong 2016 at binayad ko sa kanya yung first paycheck ko, $1,000. Bibili dapat ng iPhone. Hindi niya binili yung iPhone niya. Binili niya is Ethereum. Okay?
Yeah.
At she bought 50,000 pesos worth. Okay. The day I was talking to her, she goes, why, how much is it now? Sabi ko, I hope you're sitting down. Because that 50,000 pesos is now worth 2.3 million pesos. She literally fell off her seat. She was like, holy shit, ibebenta ko na lahat to. Sabi ko, do not touch it. Then I explained to her the chart, like I'm explaining it to you guys. This is where it's going. Why is it going here? What are we looking at? Sabi niya, okay, I'm not gonna sell it. Fast forward a year later, November 2021 na, she's messaging me, oh my God, Chris. I go, I know. She goes, have you seen it? I go, have you seen it? She goes, yep. Yung 50,000 niya na naging 2.3 million is at that time hit a high of 35 million pesos. She's 30 years old.
$1 million na siya. Getting to the $1 million territory, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yun, so that's what I'm saying about, you don't need to understand it. You just have to put the money and just hold it. Yun.
Yeah, I agree with the kind of a long haul kind of. You're not gonna get over if you're for overnight kind of profit and all reach overnight. You're gonna get into trouble. You're gonna fall for
Yep.
the scammy ones. Last point. Let's just say let's say an average middle class yuppie Filipino has say 100,000-200,000. Several $1,000s in excess fund, whatever that they can put into investments. What is your suggestion with that? What do you do with 100,000-200,000?
I would put everything in Bitcoin.
All in ka. So that
Yeah. You know what? May irony nga nito, no? Kasi nga, I talk about Bitcoin a lot. May smart ass guy who said to me, sige Chris, so you're telling people to put the money in Bitcoin. Pag natalo, are you willing to pay for the loss? You know what? Hell yeah. Pero itong condition ko sa'yo, pag talo, I'll pay for the loss. Pero pag panalo, akin yung gain. Ganun lang, di ba? What? That's so stupid that
pala kang central banker.
Yeah, you know what? For me, if you're so afraid to lose money, don't put your money in Bitcoin. Don't invest. Put it under your mattress if you're so afraid. Okay? Pero I mean, honestly, naiintindihan ko naman yung takot ng mga tao sa pag-i-invest. Ito lang sa akin, put what you're comfortable investing. That you're comfortable na pag wala, hindi ka naman mamamatay today dahil wala ka ng pera. Huwag naman ganun. Huwag kang mangutang para mag-invest.
Yes, that's a very good advice. I agree with you. And don't expect a return in 2 months, 3 months right away, because sometimes it might take 6 months, 1 year, or whatever. But the reason the insurance part, because remember, as correctly pointed out by folks here in the US, for instance, your deposits are insured up to I think $300,000, not $500,000 or something like that. So it's not like it's not like bank run and all of that is a constant reality. I mean, I'm just saying my problem with Bitcoin evangelists is that they're exaggerating sometimes the uncertainty with the traditional methods. But I think to be fair to you, you also try to emphasize to us the other side of Bitcoin, which perhaps is not appreciated by the alarmism. Okay, Chris, there's so much more we can talk about it. Perhaps we can make even videos about step by step how to do it. And please also try tell the folks do you have, I'm sure you have vlog on your own vlog, no, yung mga instructional step by step. Can you share with us? Yeah,
I actually have a lot of very deep dives into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Just follow me on on my YouTube. Yun yung mas malalim talaga sa YouTube ko. I am Christian. And yeah, if you want to know more, just message me. I'm always happy to share my ideas and my thoughts on Bitcoin. And by the way, Richard and Mark, you guys don't have to apologize when you challenge me on these points. Okay? At all. No apology needed.
Not at all.
No, I love a good challenge. And I love a good talk. And these conversations, it is really what strengthens ideas. Okay? And that's why I love it, man. So no apologies needed.
Yeah.
And pushback is amazing.
Sword
I love
sharpens
pushback.
sword. Amigo. Mark, any questions before we go to the next part, which I think you have even more to ask Chris siguro, yung entrepreneurship, because you are an entrepreneur yourself, right? Any questions on Bitcoin?
Iba naman, yung sa showbiz.
Ay, ibang episode na yan. Ibang episode na yan. Ibang episode na lang yan, bro.
It's part of the movie Sharon and Alden.
Yun. Let's shout out in the next episode. Sige, let's start there. Thank you very much.
That's the next episode.
Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, Chris Stan and Mark Gamboa, for this RCM or CRM or MRC, whatever. MRC na lang para GMRC ang dating. May magalit na senator sa akin. Thank you very much, Chris, for your passionate argument in favor of Bitcoins, or at least people being a little bit more entrepreneurial, which is something we want to discuss in our next episode. Salamat. God bless. All right, let's do this. Let's go to entrepreneurship. This is very important. No problem.
Sorry.
No problem. I'll just
Pwedeng change phones lang.
No problem, bro. I'll just wait for you. No problem.
1 minute, okay.
No problem. Once. Thanks, Chris. I think it was important I raised those questions. Maganda nga eh. I think ang ganda nung back and forth. Yeah.
Alam mo talaga, I love the questions, bro, and I love the points you make. And they're valid points. So you know, when you talk about points kasi, what you say is not incorrect eh. It's absolutely correct. Kaya that's why, I mean, for me it was like no need to apologize for a challenge, because you're actually tama yung sinabi mo eh. There's nothing wrong about it. It's a question of how you perceive the information.
Yeah.
That's it eh.
Yeah. And the context and the the level of certainty, uncertainty, or confidence. Kaya at the end of the day, it comes down to folks, no? I mean, we're just laying out the arguments there. It's up to our listeners to decide on their own. But I think we have to have more of this kind of discussion, especially on entrepreneurship. Because I think where I completely agree with you is we have to have more appetite for risk. Good risk, reasonable risk, calculated risk. Kung wala kang appetite for any kind of risk, walang growth. There's nothing's gonna happen. You're gonna be eaten alive by other people. Kaya I like this discussion, right? I may not agree with you 100%, but I definitely agree with the premise of what you're pushing forward. Dahil lang natin ito si Mark. Sorry about.
Have you invested in Bitcoin or not yet?
Hindi, ako sigurista kasi ako eh. In terms of the technicalities and regular, kasi the taxes, everything, kailangan ko talaga pag-aralan yan. But I'm open to the idea. I'm an open-minded person. I look at the evidence, I look at the... No, I completely agree with for long haul. It makes sense, especially long haul. 5, 10 years, 15 years, yeah.
Yeah, ako honestly, as a friend, ako, especially for friends and family, I'm very particular about this. Kahit if you can put 10,000 pesos or
I know, man.
Whatever, just put something.
I agree with you.
I want you to see this. I
agree, bro. I agree. I think it's worth the try, definitely. Kaya we have to meet soon. No? Siguro, bagong taon, bagong mindset, and let's talk about it. Mark, okay na tayo? Can you speak, Mark? Check natin yung boses mo. Good. I really like that discussion. Something very different. Maganda to.
Yeah,
the volume is perfect, bro. Okay, let's go for this.
Anong next topic?
Entrepreneurship, once again. I'll stop calling. Let's talk about entrepreneurship in general, and then we can go to showbiz. Transition. Alright, okay. Alright, guys, welcome back dito sa ating CRM or CM, pero favorite code, GMRC. Kulang na lang letter G. Maghanap tayo ng letter G. No, ito, guys. In the previous episode, we discussed Bitcoin, digital currencies, balance of risk and risk appetite, which I think is a perfect segue for our discussion now. Chris, the reason why this is close to my heart is because I go all around the world and I see a lot of Filipinos all around the world, but I see very few Filipino restaurants, Filipino businesses, right? And a part of me feels bad because my point is like with with more than 10 million Filipino all around the world, you would have expected so many Filipino restaurants, because we see that with our other Asian brothers and sisters. How many Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese restaurants, supermarkets, so I felt na, perhaps there's a cultural thing we have to deal with here in terms of in terms of level of comfort with business, risk, and entrepreneurship. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then we can go to Mark because Mark is an entrepreneur compared to me. I mean, he's definitely an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the biggest problem kasi in the Philippines is that entrepreneurship is not really something that is prioritized in our education system.
Yeah.
Kids are not taught how to be entrepreneurs, and hindi tayo nabibigyan ng mga magagandang role models at saka mga examples that people can emulate. But having
Right.
said that, yung sa ibang bansa kasi, like for example, I grew up in Canada, no. Napansin ko, no, during summers, we have workshops that you can enroll in. So I enrolled in a workshop. It's an entrepreneurship workshop.
Right.
And I was 16. I imagine mo, a 16-year-old, tapos sinabihan ka na, okay kids, you guys group together into groups of 4. Come up with a business idea. Okay, paanong idea yan? We're gonna fund it. May ganon. And then, okay, go, try to sell it. Now, what does it explain na yung mga konsepto? Ganun? Walang ganun dito sa Pilipinas eh. That's the unfortunate thing, number 1. Number 2, confidence. Isang napansin ko sa Pilipinas, we lack confidence. Versus when you hear Americans, my God, they're so
Yeah.
full of confidence. Medyo over the top.
Yeah,
Pero
ubot
that-
ng air.
Oo. Pero alam mo, laking tulong yung nagkakaroon ka ng ganyang klaseng confidence na kahit na nga hindi mo alam ginagawa mo, basta confident ka, you can kind of navigate through it. Sa atin naman, maraming magagaling na Pinoy. Ito napansin ko sa Pinoy. We have a lot of amazingly smart Filipinos. Programmers, engineers,
Right.
computer scientists are very, very smart. And yet, kulang tayo sa entrepreneurship, and it's not because of the intelligence.
Yeah, it
It's
has
the
nothing to do with it.
confidence.
Yeah. And the culture. Ikaw, Mark, bilang isang Filipino entrepreneur, I mean, what is your understanding on this? What is your take? Yeah.
Oo nga kulang pa rin talaga when it comes to schools, yung mga students kulang sa financial education, kaya pag graduate, 'di ba? Walang alam masyado pagdating sa pera, pagdating in taking care of their money, in using credit cards, in pagdating sa mga utang, in starting a business. And nandun pa rin yung mindset na to become an employee first, look for a stable job. So many years na, ang daming mga moves na like yung Go Negosyo and yung mga iba pang mga campaigns to promote entrepreneurship. Pero parang kulang pa rin yung tama, sinabi ko yung confidence ng ordinary Pinoy to start a business. Pero I think ang malaking factor din ngayon sa social media, like yung pagdating sa TikTok, yung mga entrepreneurs na they're documenting yung negosyo nila, and I think it also helps them in developing that culture sa mga Pinoys, in trying to develop more entrepreneurs and more. Ako naman, sa experience ko, it comes from my dad. Yung, at an early age, yung dad ko started his own business. So, tapos ngayon, 30 years na yung company, and okay naman. So, doon ko natutunan yung every aspect of starting a business. And pero, for other Pinoys na walang exposure na ganun, talagang mahirap for them. Mahirap for them na matanggal yung takot and yung mindset na, compared sa mga ang maganda tignan din yung mga Chinoys, mga Filipino-Chinese, at an early age, they are trained to take over their business. Di ba, bata pa lang, pinagtutulong sila sa warehouse.
But Mark, I mean, again, maybe Chris can say more on that because there's an existing infrastructure already, right? Unlike, let's say an average Pinoy middle class, you have to really start from scratch. So where do you get that? I mean, Chris, what is your take on that? But before we go there, I just want to say something because Chris, you said something very interesting about confidence and culture of entrepreneurship. There was this very interesting book by Amy Chua, no, and Jed Rubenfeld, no, the triple package, looking at the successful minorities in America, for instance, the Chinese Americans, Indian Americans, Iranian Americans, Cuban Americans, Vietnamese American, and Nigerian Americans. And he said, but it's a combination of superiority complex, inferiority complex, like they have to prove something, and at the same time yung ability to delayed gratification, right? Because if your mindset is you know, you want to make an investment now, you want to be billionaire, get the Ferrari next year, you're really gonna get into Ponzi schemes, or you're never gonna succeed. Because really, being a good businessman is delayed gratification, go for the long haul. And of course, you have to that kind of that mindset that kaya mo yan, that we can do it as good as any other group. Yeah. So that was her study of minorities, successful minorities, 6 different minorities in the case of the United States. I mean, for me, it makes sense in some ways. I don't always agree with Amy Chua, but and of course Amy Chua's mom is from Philippines and USD. Chinoy din yung mom niya. So I'm just saying, you know. But ikaw, Chris, like, what is your take on yung sinasabi ni Mark John?
Actually, if you look at the biggest entrepreneurs, the most successful ones, hindi sila galing sa politics pa rin, no? Hindi sila galing sa mga
Established.
billionaires
Yeah.
na Chinoys. Most of the ones that really make it actually started off middle class or even lower middle class. Look at Henry C. Henry C. did not start off rich. Look at the Gokongweis. John Gokongwei didn't start off rich. And then their kids though are very very smart and have been trained well, but the legacy was already from the parents, di ba? But the ones that really make it big now are the ones that really have a pain in yung meron silang hugot. Kung wala
Exactly.
ka maraming mga mayayaman dyan, they'll never make it big. They're already just sustaining the lifestyle they have. They're basically just inheriting the money, and it's it's generational wealth. Ganun na lang yun. Now, I'll give you an example. When you talk about entrepreneurship, I realize that nowadays, mas maraming opportunities for entrepreneurs. I'm talking about, nabanggit nga ni Mark, yung TikTok, for example. I am so fascinated with this affiliate program of TikTok and how it opened up entrepreneurship for people. That you've got this TikToker, si Rosemar Tan. Diba? Na one of the biggest TikTokers, and she was bragging on Corina Sanchez's show that she made at a height of her business at 13 million a day.
Grabe.
She's a good friend, si Rotmar.
Yeah,
Hi, Rotmar.
alam mo sa akin, I am grateful to see, and I'm so happy to see mga entrepreneurs on TikTok that are making it big and doing their thing. What's the name of that guy, yung the guy yung palaging galit na may hawak na umbrella at sumikat dahil doon, tapos he made a killing because of that. Do you know him, Mark?
Yeah, yung parang guy na inaampas lang yung ano-anong mga...
Yeah, ang galing niya. And he's just always angry at everything.
Akala ko si Mekos.
Yeah, but alam mo, he sells millions.
Yeah.
So when I see this, it fascinates me, and I think a lot of people are now learning to be entrepreneurs. The Axie Infinity thing, I think, taught a lot of people to be entrepreneurs as well, to be entrepreneurs. So meron namang mga opportunities. Kaya lang, nagpipigil sa tao talaga sometimes is pera. Tingin nila kailangan ng pera para maging entrepreneur, which is the fallacy.
Even the top influencers, when you reach a certain level na of fame, ang next move na is to start a business eh. So, yun na nagiging trend na parang, for example, sila, Kong TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yung wife niya, si V, di ba? They started as one of the top YouTubers. Pero ngayon, how many businesses do they have? Di ba? Ang dami nilang mga negosyo, mga events.
Si Dr. Willie Ong, di ba? Si Willie Ong, ang dami yung mga products. Si Willie Ong, yung beshi mo.
Yung business si Doc Willie eh. Oh. Pero yun nga, yung the types of like Rosmar. Si Rosmar, I saw her back mga 6 years ago, meron lang siyang small restaurant. Tapos she just wanted to be famous online. Tapos she got into TikTok, sumikat siya doon. Siya na yung pinakasikat sa TikTok nung pumasok yung mga affiliate program. Kaya she was able to capitalize. And ngayon, sobrang yaman na nitong si Rosmar. Marami yung mga ganong mga cases na. And now it's the best time talaga. Kumpara nung when we were younger, di ba? Wala naman yung ganyang opportunities masyado for us. You have to go to the corporate ladder. You have to unlike now, di ba, you're a student, you're a fresh graduate, ang daming mga opportunities to earn. You just have to kailangan lang work really pag-aralan and work hard on it.
Yeah, dagdag ko na rin, Mark and Richard, na alam mo, like, I understand there are a lot of people that are probably watching this na that are working for a company. Alam mo, I want to emphasize this. When you talk about entrepreneurship, hindi lang naman yan ibig sabihin magsastart ka ng sarili mong negosyo. You can be an entrepreneur at work. And
Right.
being an entrepreneur is a mindset na kahit na for example, nagtatrabaho ka, okay, nagtatrabaho ka lang 9 to 5, and let's say you're a call center agent. Okay, you can be an entrepreneur as a call center agent. Do the best work you can.
You're right.
Give the best service because your employer is your one and only customer. Na kailangan masaya yung customer. You gotta do everything you can to make that customer happy. That's how you learn the entrepreneur mindset. Now, after nakuha mo na yung isang customer, alam mo na how to make the customer happy, and you know how to get the customer, you can apply that same mindset when you decide, okay, I want to get more than just one customer. Now, I want to get 4 or 5 or 6 or 10. And then, ayan na, being a consultant, that's an entrepreneurship, or moving past that. And instead of selling services, you can also sell your products. So, yun yung entrepreneurial mindset that people forget that you need to develop. And ang maganda sa having a job before you become an entrepreneur is this: you learn discipline.
Right.
Dahil ang pinakamahirap na parte ng pagiging entrepreneur is yung disiplina.
Right.
Na araw-araw papasok ka sa trabaho mo, na negosyo mo. Na kasi pag entrepreneur ka, hindi to 9 to 5. Inuuwi mo yung sakit ng ulo mo.
24/7
This
talaga
is
yan. Yeah.
7 days a week, 24/7. You think being an employee is hard? Being an entrepreneur is a lot harder.
Yeah.
So it starts with that.
And last point siguro, Mark and Chris, like, what is your advice for, I mean, first of all, bakit kailangan mag-entrepreneur ng tao? Aside from being their own boss, masarap maging sariling boss or walang ibang boss. And what is your advice? First Mark and then siguro Chris.
Ako lang take advantage ng everything, every online tool, every lahat ng social media apps available to you now. Kasi ang laki ng opportunity Kung saang industry ka man, kung ano yung interest mo, yun yung try mong pasukin, pero ang napakaraming opportunity ngayon.
Right.
Yun nga, it's like sa TikTok, ako sa YouTube and sa Facebook, yun yung inaral ko. Pero yun like sa TikTok, there's still so much to learn and so much skill to gain. So wag nila sayangin yung chance na yun kasi ang laki talaga ng ang laki talaga ng opportunity pa to promote, to grow, to start your own business.
Chris?
At any age.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Mark.
Okay.
Chris?
For me, for all the budding entrepreneurs out there, yung mga gusto mag-umpisa na negosyo, ang una kong advice bibigay sa inyo, stop talking about it and just start doing it. Don't, like a lot of people talk too much, they don't do enough. Okay, number 1. Number 2, discipline is so important. Alam mo, yung commitment to get the job done, to get the work done, you need to have that discipline. You need to develop that. That's why for me, if you're an employee now, it's okay. You have to develop that discipline. And then kung disiplinado ka na, kaya mo nang i-discipline na sarili mo, then it's time that you can become an entrepreneur. It's not just about the idea. It's about the commitment to make sure that the idea comes to fruition. I'll also add, that, alam mo, I'm so impressed with the QC government. Kasi, recently, I met with them because my girlfriend joined the Startup QC program. Ito yung entrepreneurship program ng Quezon City. And you know what they do? They give 1 million pesos for startup businesses. Walang limit yan. It could be 5, 10, whatever. It doesn't matter. Pag meron sila nakita mga businesses na mukhang okay, they will give you a grant. They don't want shares. They'll just give you 1 million pesos to be able to start your business. Ang galing ng program.
Venture capital is that's the good new thing. I mean, Mark correctly pointed out, make the best use of new platforms that businessmen didn't have in the past. And thank you, Chris, for mentioning. I didn't know that we have this startup policy also here. And I think that's a perfect segue to our next episode because we're going to talk about policy and governance and how things should move forward. And of course, yung favorite ni Mark, medyo showbiz. Pag-usapan natin yan. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Our businessmen in the house. Thank you for your fantastic interventions. Okay, now let's go for gold. Ito na, para sa bayan. Okay, ito na. We had 2 episodes, one on Bitcoin, another one on entrepreneurship, kind of related with each other. Ito naman, para sa bayan naman tayo. Alright. Yeah, ito na, ito na.
Ayan.
Mark, let's start with you. What are the, let's say, 3 things that stood out for you in terms of Philippine politics? And maybe showbiz, medyo related yung dalawa na yan, di ba? In the past 3 years, if 3 or if more, I'm fine with 5. I mean, what are the things that stood out for you, Mark? And what are the things that you look forward to? Ayan, may time na si Chris na, ano. Mamaya, maritas natin si Chris. Magsha-shoutout ka pa, di ba, Mark?
Stood out in the past, year ba?
This year,
Ano year
2023.
tayo?
Exactly, 2023. What are pinaka bonggang issue para sa politically, and what are the things you look forward to for 2024?
Sige, 3 things eh. Una is yung pababa na interest ng mga ordinary Pinoy sa politics. Hindi katulad nung Duterte administration na parang lahat araw-araw nag-aaway. So that's a good thing din. Na hindi naman yung toxic araw-araw nag-aaway about politics. So in a way, yung pagka-boring ng Marcos administration, it's a good din para mapahinga naman yung pagiging toxic.
Detox. Yeah.
Pangalawa, yung implosion ng Uniteam. Kaya buong taon, unti-unti, nung umpisa, ayaw maniwala. Ngayon, ayaw pa rin maniwala ng iba. Pero you can see, nung mga last few, nung signing ng budget, Sara wasn't there. Diba? You could compare kung how the relationship started at the start of the year at ngayon mukhang talagang maghihiwalay na and talagang total war
Showbiz nga. Kathniel.
Ayun.
And
then lastly siguro sa politics bago mag-showbiz is Sara Duterte doesn't seem that too much invincible na. Unlike after nung panalo nung elections, he seemed parang destined na to be the next in line after Marcos. Ngayon, medyo you start to doubt na mukhang hindi naman pala set in stone. Mukhang hindi naman pala 100% na yon. Iyon plus yung Katniel na issue.
Okay, let's leave na lang for 2024 to the next part. Sorry. Yeah.
Nakita ko this year.
Yeah, let's tama. Thank you, Mark, for actually mas maganda. Next na lang pag-usapan natin things to look forward to. Ikaw, Chris, what are the 3 things that stood out for you in terms of Philippine politics and society in general? Kasama dyan yung showbiz.
Yung ako din yung Unity, yun din yung implosion nila was a big issue. And for me, the writings are on the wall. It's gonna be exciting to see what's gonna happen next. And honestly, a pleasant surprise for me. Although I'm not sure if I'm really surprised, yung how BBM moves, how he does his political plays. It's very, very interesting. Yun ang dalawang nakita ko sa politics na nakaka-intriga, and I'd love to see how it's gonna turn out. I can't think of a third one that really stood out. The budget, I guess, because talaga, yung confidential funds, yan yung big issue. Yung pala yung pangatlo, pucha. Yung problema talaga natin, talagang kailangan natanggalin yung confidential funds. Yun yung bagong pork barrel eh.
Chris, kasi negosyante. Entrepreneurship yan.
Saka, alam mo, nakakatawa talaga pag narinig mo mga Pilipino dyan na nagsasabi na, kaya nga confidential eh. Parang gusto ko sabihin, ganun ba kayo katanga? Gobyerno yan, pera natin yan. Kailangan transparency, not confidentiality. Seryoso talaga. Yung tatlo
Baka naman ito yung mga natutuwa sa confidential pa.
Actually, makikita naman na it's recycled mga comments.
Wala naman tayong sinasabi, di ba? Sige, ako, I'll just say, of course, I mean, SMNI, I think that was the big thing. I didn't expect the whole SMNI to come, this far and this early. And it tells you, related din na siguro, there's some people na hindi pa rin nila natanggap na hindi na sila the dominant force in the Philippine politics, di ba? The OGs are back, the Marcoses, right? I think the Dutertes compared to Marcoses, wala. OG pa rin na Marcoses. Speaking of Marcos Jr., I mean, one of the most interesting thing is, ito yung tinatawag na weak leader at spoiled brat ni Digong. But when it comes to West Philippine Sea foreign policy, I'm not sure who's the weak leader. I mean, if I look at it, I think Marcos Jr. is looking way more robust, no? In pushing back against China, and now even talking about a new paradigm and going toe-to-toe. I think malaki yan. And then, the other thing, of course, mi favorito, Leila de Lima getting free. I think that was definitely for me the biggest, most important, most morally encouraging one, because I think along with that, many things are happening. For gentlemen, as we speak right now, the ICC is conducting investigations. Of course, we might see some developments on that in the coming weeks and months. So I think just the wheels of justice have kinda, hindi naman Tesla, Ferrari level, but they're moving in the right direction. Finally, so I'm kind of happy about that. So definitely those are the three big things that stood out for me. Now, Mark, what are the things you look forward to next year? Wag naman sana mga breakups, alright? Ano mga new couple, mga showbiz couple you're thinking on? Marami naging single this year, eh. Hindi ko alam sa unit team.
Ano ba? Hindi, yung complete na away na. Kasi, kumbaga, ito yung introduction pa lang eh. Parang unti-unti pa lang. Next year na yung talagang maghiwalay na talaga in preparation for the 2025 elections eh. So Sarah will have her own slate, the admin will have their own slate, senatorial slate, and maging full-on opposition na yung Green, yung PDS and Duterte. So yun ang inaasahan kong mangyayari with Sara Duterte resigning as Secretary of Education. I think it's only a matter of ang tanong na lang is
Yun
when,
na,
not
oo.
if.
Yeah.
And of course, nakita natin yung pagdating sa performance, hindi ko makita. Ito a good chance for her sana to show yung kanyang skills, yung kanyang capacity as a leader. Pero ang daming problema pagdating pa rin sa education natin. Di ba? Yung mga remittance ng mga teachers, hindi nabibigay, and yung mga students natin falling behind. So, it would have been a good chance for her to show. Kaso yun nga, too much politics, eventually she will resign as Secretary of DepEd. And ang dami pa rin problema. Without, hindi memorable yung kanya naging stint as Education Secretary, which could have been a good chance for her to show how she will be as a leader if she was ever elected as president.
Mark, do you expect fireworks next year? Tatay Digong, Kibuloy, I don't know. You expect fireworks?
Oo.
Yeah.
Oo, yun na. Yun nga eh. Sana nga hindi umabot sa, di ba, bloodshed or ano. Ayaw natin yun. Pero there's a side of me that worries na.
Grabe, Game of Thrones kagad, ah. Civil War kagad. Next level naman. Oo.
Magulo talaga with the direction sa ICTC and ngayon yung SMNI kay Sara mukhang doon na papunta and ayun makikita natin talaga kasi with the Dutertes as strong as they are makakaharap na tapos sinabi mo yung OG the Marcoses, di ba? They have 20-year experience of
half a century of experience. Yeah. OG yan.
Yung sa SMNI eh. Si Amy, di ba? Parang naano siya na freedom of the press is being suppressed.
Due process. Due process.
Due process and inaalisa ng boses yung mga media. And di ba? Biglang naalala ko lang bigla. She was ano lang, adult na siya nung panahon na yun. I mean, she probably could remember it. But anyway.
That's good. Mark, maybe you want to shout out our good friend, Kristan, our artista friend. So what did you watch the other day? I mean, like, are you... Ano yung projects na kaibigan natin? Maybe Chris wants to talk about it. Chris, let's go to you. Kamusta? What are the projects you have to look forward in your life aside from Philippine politics? Anong fireworks dyan?
Yeah, for the people watching, for Metro Manila Film Fest and for the Manila International Film Fest, I'm in the movie Family of Two with Sharon Cuneta and Alden Richards. Grabe, nagpa-plug talaga. It's a good movie. Did you like it, Mark?
Good movie.
Umiyak ka ba?
I liked it.
Umamin ka, umiyak ka, ano? Umiyak si Mark.
Naman, pero I want to watch it again with my mom. Ganun ko talaga nagustuhan.
Yun, I'm planning to watch it with my girlfriend and her daughter naman. Kasi ganun ko din ka nagustuhan. And apparently, it's the favorite daw for the Metro Manila Film Fest of all the movies for this batch. So,
wow, congratulations.
It was such an honor to work with Sharon Cuneta and Alden Richards.
Of course.
Grabe, it was such an amazing experience. It's not my full-time thing, kaya for me to be able to do that and to be part of something like this, man, sobrang sobrang grateful ako sa mga ganung mga opportunities. So yeah, if you guys get to watch it, that'd be amazing.
Anong role mo dyan?
Mahaba yung
Bitcoin
role ni
guy?
Chris.
Anong role mo dyan? Bitcoin?
Ako yung boss ni Alden Richards.
Oh.
Oo, mahaba yung role niya.
In fairness,
Yeah,
in
so tuwing
fairness.
nasa opisina siya,
Ang ganda.
ako yung
It's
usap
a
niya.
light movie, pero ang ganda sobrang solid ng pagkakagawa.
Yeah.
Diba? Light movie lang siya, pero it's very good for the family kasi may
Yes.
enjoy ng buong pamilya.
At saka ang ganda nung yung mga moral lessons na nakikita mo about family,
Right.
about how kids are with their parents and parents with their kids. Galing. Like Mark said, light-hearted, pero may tugging at the heartstrings pa rin yan kahit light-hearted yan.
I mean, of course, Filipino. And then, gentlemen, anything you look forward to next year before we bid Merry Christmas to everyone? Of course, I'm hoping we catch up quite early in 2024, God willing. You know, we talk about things to discuss. So I don't want to overdo that part, but before we bid farewell for now and you know, greet people for Merry Christmas, is there anything you want to add, Chris, and then Mark?
Actually sa akin guys, let's for 2024 siguro my hope is that people become less toxic
Right.
and not so reactionary, at sana tingnan nila sarili nila ng konti kasi ang dami pa rin mga tao that yung hindi nila naiintindihan na yung mga the way they throw comments in the comment
Right.
section says a lot about them than the people they're commenting on.
Right.
Yung, my God, I wish they can be more self-aware and sana magkaroon kayo ng yung self-awareness, kamalayan sa sarili.
Right.
At hindi lang yun, yung critical thinking, yung mag-isip naman tayo ng konti. Kung hindi nyo alam kung paano gawin yun, pag-aralan nyo yun, and then, you know, this way, hindi ka na nabubudol ng bansa, ng mga gobyerno natin at everything else. Yun lang, yun ang message ko for everyone.
Thank you for that very inspirational, motivational speaker din. Hindi lang boss, hindi lang Bitcoin, hindi lang lover boy, but motivational speaker. Ikaw naman, Models of Manila. Kamusta dyan, Mark? Anong balita dyan sa traffic ngayon sa Cubao? Anong mensahe mo?
Ayun. Hindi, actually, manonood ako ng PDA game eh.
Yun.
So, ako, ang wish ko for next year, sana yung Gilas, umayos na yung direction, magkaroon ng maayos.
Right.
Sana makakwalify sa Olympics, pero that's a long shot. Pero in the future, sana...
Ay, thanks for that. That's a good point, yeah. Olympics pala next year, no? Paris?
Yeah, Olympics next year.
I know, that's the
may maliit
beginning
na
of-
chance tayo makapasok.
Oo.
So,
Isa lang ba pwede, bro?
for
One
that.
country lang? One country lang?
Four.
Ah,
Pero
four?
kasama natin mga Europeans, Spain.
Ay, shucks,
mga-
mahirap.
mga
Playoffs
bibigyan
kasi
ng
yun, di ba?
European
Playoffs. Oh, shucks. Wow,
Oo.
that's interesting. Sports naman, hindi lang tayo pang Bitcoin, hindi lang tayo pang politika, pang sports din tayo talaga. Kaya mahal na mahal ko kayo eh. GMRC talaga tayo eh. GMRC. Alright guys, thank you so much. Also, of course, I want to say on my side how grateful I am for the opportunity of working with you gentlemen, and of course, hopefully hindi lang puro gentlemen, we want to diversify, hindi lang manel. I'm so happy with the level of, you know, yes, Chris is right, may mga epal here and there, but I appreciate any engagement, but there's so
Yes.
much positive engagement. I see live commentary correcting us, reminding us of insurance levels in US banks and all of that. That's the level of engagement we're getting from a lot of people. So please continue to support us because we may look like fools or just like ranting and all, but actually we care about the country. And obviously we're doing this because we want to get the right message out. But tao lang kami, so a little bit of encouragement on your part always goes a long way because, you know, we want this to be not only about Kristan or Mark Gamboa or yours truly. You know, we want this to be a kind of a, I hate to say it, but illustrados of the 21st century. Ito na naman ako. No, we want to make this a collective effort. It's about solidarity because I always believe in the Filipino people. I just didn't believe in the old elite in this country. I don't think they did justice to our people. So hopefully, with this kind of discussions we're having, we're doing justice to the Filipino people. We're giving them the information that they need. But more importantly, we nurture the kind of critical thinking that Kristan is very passionate about, that Mark is very passionate about, and also some level of entertainment. So thank you very much, Chris and Mark. Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones, and advance Happy New Year. And looking forward to catching with you guys sooner than later, God willing.
Sige, thanks so much guys. I
Merry
appreciate this
Christmas.
discussion.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Alright.
God bless. Balikan kita, Chris.
Thank you.
Magbe-Bitcoin tayo. Yung 10,000, ilabas mo na. Bili na
Hey,
tayo.
I know, I'm gonna add that. Remember, you can quote me on this, You need to get it before January 10.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not kidding.
I will see you January 9, 6 p.m. So we gotta know. No, let's do something early next year, bro. Before January
Okay.
10. My man. Thank you very much. God bless and talk to you soon. Ingat ka rin, Marka.
Take care.
Ingat sa traffic.
Bye-bye.
God bless. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for that fantastic, listening to fantastic conversation. Sorry, medyo may lagnat pa ako, medyo mahina pa ako. I appreciate it. Our first year-ender. Hopefully, we'll have more of that in the coming days or maybe after Christmas na lang before the year officially ends. So, thank you so much for your comments. Yung mga nag-comment also about technical issues and all. Alam ko may mga tuwan-tuwa sa Bitcoin, may mga hindi natutuwa sa Bitcoin. So, I appreciate it. This is part of the discussion we have. So, talk to you soon. God bless.